Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Zoom Into Books experience today with our Christmas extravaganza, sponsored by Headline Books. And today we are chatting with award-winning Headline Books author, Diana Pishner Walker. Welcome, Diana.
Thank you.
If any of you have questions for Diana throughout her presentation, feel free to type them into the comments section. Also, if you have to leave early and you can't catch the end of one of her books, you can watch the replay here on Facebook as well as on the Zoom Into Books YouTube channel. So if you subscribe to that, then you'll get notified whenever we post a new video. And we'll be posting all of these videos beginning on December 1st. All right, so today we are going to chat with Diana about her trilogy, the Hopping to America series. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Diana and we'll get started.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming back to listen to some more great stories, at least stories that I love. And there happened to be stories about a little family of rabbits that traveled from Italy to West Virginia. And this little family of rabbits will be featured in all three of the books that we're going to talk about today. So, the first one is Hopping to America, a rabbit's tale. Not a rabbit's tale, but a tale of immigration. Joby and his family were not born in the United States. They were born in the country of Italy. They were an Italian family. Joby and his grandparents, Nonna and Nana, along with his parents, Mama Rosa and Papa Luigi, and his two sisters, Annabella and Maria, made the decision to leave Italy and travel on a big ship across the ocean to the United States of America. They left their home and their friends, but they could never part with their Italian customs, traditions, and way of life. They were sad and happy at the same time about their new American life. It took almost a month to get to America. All they could see was water. There was not much food for the bunnies to share, and some of the food they had never eaten before, like bananas. The tables were set with a tin cup and a tin plate for each meal. Many languages were spoken on the ship, not just Italian. All the passengers had to be checked out by the doctors. The doctors mostly looked at their eyes, which Joby thought was just silly because rabbits have great eyesight, thanks to all those carrots. Finally, they arrived. All the bunnies moved to the side of the ship to see the beautiful lady in the sky, the Statue of Liberty, they called her. Mama Rosa could not believe her eyes, which were full of tears. The bunnies clapped and cheered. Police bunnies asked all the passengers to get into lines behind the chalk marks. For a little while, Joby's family was separated, but they were lucky enough to find each other again. Some bunnies did not get to stay in the new land, and they had to travel back to Italy. The big ship landed on the shores of Ellis Island. They scampered and scurried to grab their suitcases, all the while looking at the tall buildings. The door to America was open for the Riepoli family. Riepoli is their last name, and that means a wild hare or a wild rabbit in Italian. It was a strange land. The people spoke English, and Papa Luigi did not understand their questions. There was an American lady at the gate when they arrived who wanted to know how many passengers were in their family. She asked their names and if they needed transportation. She also asked about their passports. Papa Luigi understood the word passport. He showed the American lady the passports of everyone in the family, and they passed through the gate. Papa Luigi had been writing letters for over a year now to his cousin Dominic, who was already living in the United States. Cousin Dominic lived in a little state called West Virginia. Sometimes he sent pictures to the family back in Italy of his garden and his farm animals. But mostly the pictures were of the beautiful mountainside where he lived and his girlfriend, Sarah, of course. Cousin Dominic came to meet Joby's family at Ellis Island to take them to their new home in West Virginia. He traveled a very long way to get to Ellis Island in the state of New York. And there's a little map there. You can see where they were traveling from. It was not a very big home for all of Joby's family, and the family had to share bedrooms. Mama Rosa made sure there were enough seats at the table for everyone in the family to sit together at dinner time. The Riepoli family always stopped whatever they were doing to come to the table to share a meal and say a blessing for their food. If you notice down at the end of that table, there's a little meatball I think they're going to be fighting over. The Riepoli family arrived in this new world in the heat of the summer. The family worked hard together in their garden. They planted food, especially carrots, to have for the long winter months ahead. Soon, summer was ending, and it was time for Joby and his sisters to go to school. School? Joby hadn't thought about school and having to make new friends in this new world. Mama Rosa and her children took her children to school on the very first day to try to speak to the teachers. She and the teachers mostly just smiled at each other. One teacher pointed to some papers and Mama Rosa signed our names and hers. It wasn't long after Joby was settled into his classroom that he made his very first friend, Stefano. He soon learned Stefano also came from Italy and had learned to speak English very well. Stefano also loved to play the piano and eat chocolate bars, lots of chocolate bars. Sometimes he wore the chocolate on his school clothes, which just made Joby laugh. He's a mess. One day, Stefano asked Joby to come to the park to play baseball. Joby had no idea what baseball was or how much fun it could be. After playing baseball, Joby and Stefano taught the other children playing with them how to play bocce ball. Joby's sisters were making friends too. They brought their friends home for Mama Rosa to teach them how to make biscotti, which is cookies. And all their friends asked to stay for dinner when they saw that Mama Rosa was preparing a tiella filled with potatoes and zucchini. Sometimes all of the bunnies in the neighborhood got together for parties, especially for holidays. Everyone brought food. Nona made his famous juice from the grapes, and there was always plenty of carrot cake to go around. Stefano played the piano and Cousin Dominic played the accordion. Papa Luigi brought out his harmonica. Annabella danced the tarantella and Maria sang. The Riepoli family shared stories about life in Italy, and their new neighbors and friends talked about life in America. Sometimes when Mama Rosa talked about Italy, her eyes got teary, and Papa Luigi promised her the family would go back someday to visit. The Riepoli family loved springtime the best. All the bunnies stayed very busy during this season. They not only planted seeds in the gardens, they stayed busy coloring eggs, helping Mama Rosa make Easter bread, and cutting olive branches for Palm Sunday. After all, what bunny doesn't love springtime? Wow, little did Joby and his family know, but Papa Luigi had a surprise plan for them. In a little town called Clarksburg, not far from where the Riepoli family lived, there was the Festival di Pasqua every year in the spring. Italian bunnies from everywhere traveled to celebrate Pasqua, which means Easter. The bunnies danced in the street while music played from the stage. There were many booths that lined the town. There were food booths that served pasta and meatballs, sausage and pepper sandwiches, Giovanni's, pepperoni rolls, cannoli, and even gelato. Gelato is ice cream. There was one booth just for riti, and riti were fresh, hot, fresh fried dough sprinkled with lots of sweet sugar. Some booths sold shirts and jewelry. Of course, there were many game booths for the little bunnies, and the older bunnies played bingo. Papa Luigi announced to his family that he wanted to take them someplace special. They hopped in the car, and off they went. As soon as they arrived, Papa explained about the festival and how it was going to be a special place for the family to go every year. Joby tried the food at every booth. He played games with his friends and danced in the streets with his sisters. Even Nona and Nana were happy and dancing. Mama Rosa began to cry, and when Papa Luigi asked her why the tears in such a happy place, she told him she missed Italy even more after she heard all of the Italian music. Papa Luigi explained this was not all of the surprise. I wonder what the surprise can be. Joby heard his friend Stefano's voice coming from the loudspeaker on the stage, and Stefano was asking for Joby's family to come up on the stage for a surprise from Papa Luigi. Stefano played the piano along with his other friends, Chris, Joel, Daryl, and Mark, who played guitars and drums. Sometimes his friend Denise sang, and Luigi played the tambourine. The name of their band was Amici, which means friends in Italian. This was so exciting for the Riepoli family. They thought the festival was a surprise, and now there was more. Check out that crazy band. When the Riepoli family came to the stage, they began to see many familiar faces, and Mama Rosa started to cry again. The familiar faces they saw now were the family members who still lived in Italy. They came to the festival. There were lots of hugs and kisses. The Riepoli family, their family members from Italy, and all of the new friends from West Virginia enjoyed the whole day together, eating, dancing, singing. They took a lot of pictures. Papa Luigi told everyone, "We're all not just amici. Now we're all family." In the back of the Hopping to America Rabbit's Tale of Immigration, there are some Italian words to learn. There's Pasqua, which means Easter, Riepoli, a slang term for wild rabbits, biscotti or biscotti, cookies. Tiella is a dish. Tarantella is a traditional Italian dance from southern Italy. Giovanni is a sandwich, which includes Italian toasted bread, steak, peppers, cheese, and onions. Cannoli, pastry stuffed shells with a sweet filling. Gelato is ice cream. Riti, fried bread dough sprinkled with sugar or drizzled with honey. And amici means friends. So if you didn't forget or you can't remember while you're reading the story what those words mean, all you have to do is look on that very back page, and all of the definitions are right there. This little book is also being sold at Ellis Island in the Statue of Liberty in New York City. And it has become a play. All three of the Hopping to America series are plays in West Virginia. They were performed by the Vintage Theater Company, and they were also performed at the West Virginia Italian Heritage Festival in Clarksburg, West Virginia. So those little bunnies are here. Now we'll have to see what they do next. Well, next, just like us, they're getting ready for Christmas. Except the bunnies don't really understand too much about Christmas in America. They'll learn. This story is entitled Hopping to America, a Rabbit's Tale of La Befana. And I know some of you don't know what La Befana means, but you will. Joby and his family were happy in their new home. He stays very busy with school, friends, and his new love of baseball. His older sister Maria's voice gets stronger and stronger. Her favorite opera singer is a beautiful woman named Christina from New York City. Maria's dream is to visit her there one day. His sister Annabella continues to dance her way through life. She is fascinated by the new dances she has learned in America, but ballet stays on the top of her list. I think I skipped a page. Papa Luigi works very hard to provide a good life for his family. He loves them also very much. Nona and Nana are so happy. They love being with their grandbunnies. Mama Rosa is the busiest bunny of all. Christmas is coming soon, and she's baking, cooking, cleaning, and decorating for Christmas. And then they will get ready for Epiphany, marking the arrival of La Befana. All the bunnies in the Riepoli family are excited about the arrival of La Befana. In Italian folklore, Befana is an old woman who delivers gifts to children throughout Italy on Epiphany Eve in a similar way to St. Nicholas or Santa Claus. Joby and his sisters, Annabella and Maria, arrive at school on a very snowy and cold December day. There was a Christmas assembly in the gym. The gym at their school had been beautifully decorated with lights and a Christmas tree. Joby was sure his teachers would be warning the students about their behavior. No one wants lumps of coal from La Befana, he thought. The students were forming a line, class by class. Joby couldn't see why they were waiting in line. He spotted his friend at the front of the line, sitting on the lap of a rather large man in a red suit and cap. The man wore a huge black belt, black boots, had white hair, and a white beard. And Joby noticed he had a very, very red, rosy cheeks and a little twinkle in his eye. Joby was curious. He thought, why do my classmates want to sit on the man's lap? And why are they telling him what they want? Things a bunny could only dream about. Do they not know La Befana will be bringing all of them something very special soon? All of a sudden, the gentleman in the red suit bellowed out, "Ho, ho, ho." He smiled and handed out candy carrots. Joby and his sisters also visited this jolly man and told him what they wanted for Christmas. But they were not sure he would bring what they asked for. But they did enjoy those candy carrots. At home, Nana and Mama Rosa were baking the panettone for the holiday season. Papa Luigi and Nana were busy with bunny chores outside. When Joby and his sisters arrived home from school, they all excitedly talked at once about Santa, the man in the red suit. While the bunnies were telling Santa their stories, Papa Luigi realized they would need more water for the next day. He pulled Joby aside and asked him to please go to the well and get water for the family. Oh no, not the well, thought Joby. He did not like to go to the well and get water for the bunnies. His friends had warned him about Fox Gregory, who lived near the well, but Joby had never seen him there. Papa Luigi had told Joby what to do if he did see Fox Gregory. He told Joby the magic words to say. Off Joby hopped to the well, but this time he was not so lucky. He noticed he was not alone. He knew it was Fox Gregory who was near. When Joby turned around, he saw Fox Gregory and remembered what Papa Luigi said. Say the magic words out loud, and you will be safe. Joby said the words. The big red fox lay quietly and peacefully. Joby got the water from the well and hopped home. Joby told Papa Luigi, "I did it, Papa. I said the magic words." Papa Luigi just smiled as he took the bucket of water inside. The next day at school, Stefano told Joby all about Christmas in America, Santa, and all about the beautiful trees that sparkled in the forest on Christmas Eve. Joby asked, "But Stefano, what about La Befana? Have you forgotten?" La Befana has been an Italian tradition for many centuries. The story is that La Befana, an old witch, was too busy cleaning her house to go with the three wise men on Christmas Eve. Once she realized the mistake she had made, she gathered up a bag of gifts and set out in search of the baby Jesus. Even though she followed the same star, she couldn't find the stable, and to this day, the Italian legend states that she still travels the world on a broomstick and tattered and torn, soot-covered clothing, searching for the baby Jesus. On January 6th, the Feast of Epiphany, Italian children believe that Befana will reward them with candy and presents, or, if they have not been on their best behavior, lumps of coal, by coming down their chimneys and filling their stockings. Stefano smiled and said, "Mio amico, my friend, La Befana will come too, after Christmas." Joby thought how wonderful it is here in America to be able to celebrate the American and Italian holidays, to have family and friends all together. But then Joby remembered Fox Gregory. What if the magic words don't always work? It was Christmas Eve, and Santa was coming. The bunnies enjoyed Christmas Eve dinner, fish. Even Italian bunnies eat fish, along with all of the other tasty dishes prepared by Mama Rosa and Nonna. The Riepolis even put a Christmas tree inside. Papa Luigi reminded the bunnies to get ready for church. This was the one night in the entire year the young bunnies were allowed to stay awake after midnight. They hopped through the forest. There were many bunny paw prints in the snow. Stefano was right about those trees in the forest. They began to sparkle. And there was a huge shining star in the sky as promised. Joby could not stop thinking about Fox Gregory. He wondered if he celebrated Christmas, if he had a family, or was he just outside alone in the cold? The bunnies hurried home from church and all snuggled in their beds when Nonna heard a noise. Oh, she thought it was the man in the red suit her grandbunnies told her about. She tiptoed through the house. Oh, no, you don't, Mr. Fox, she yelled. Fox Gregory was climbing out of the rabbit hole with an armload of gifts. Nonna grabbed Mr. Fox's tail and pulled him back in. By this time, everyone was awake. Well, everyone but Nonna. The Riepoli family's Christmas was in the arms of Fox Gregory. Joby's sister began to cry. Joby looked at Papa Luigi. Mama Rosa just shook her head in disappointment. Fox Gregory slowly put down all of the Christmas packages and lowered himself to the floor in shame. Why? Joby asked. Fox Gregory replied, I have nothing. Your family has so much. Even Santa came to visit here. I have no Christmas. Nonna said, you will spend Christmas with us, the Riepolis. All of the bunnies looked surprised. Papa Luigi added, and also wait with us for La Befana. Fox Gregory thanked the bunnies over and over again. From this Christmas forward, Joby was never afraid to go to the well again. He did not need the magic words. He had the magic of Christmas, of his family, and of La Befana. La Befana came. There were no lumps of coal this year, only candy and presents for everyone, even Fox Gregory. And if you'll peek up into that window, you'll see La Befana watching. And on the last page of Hopping to America, Rabbit's Tale of La Befana are some Christmas Italian customs and traditions that Italians have during the Christmas season. I'll just mention a couple. St. Nicholas Day, Babbo Natale, Epiphany, Feast of St. Stephen, and of course the food. The food is very important at Christmas time. The panettone, which we mentioned, is a rich Italian bread made with eggs, fruit, and butter, a dry, fruity sponge cake. Fish and vegetables are served on Christmas Eve because many Italians observe the custom of no meat on this day. Pita piatta is a traditional cake made with raisins, nuts, and sugar rolled in dough. There are nativities everywhere, made out of many different materials, even pasta. One of my favorite things is the writing letters to Father Christmas. It's a tradition for children in Italy too. They write letters to their parents, telling them how much they love and they love them, and they decorate the envelopes. Sometimes they add string to them so they can be hung from the tree. These letters are read aloud after lunch on Christmas Day, making the holiday a wonderful family affair. So the bunnies had their first Christmas. And then, since they're all settled in America, they're celebrating the holidays, they're celebrating their new life, there's going to be a wedding. So the next book, the third in the trilogy, is Hopping to America, A Rabbit's Tale of a Wedding. In the hills of the beautiful mountain state of West Virginia lives a family of rabbits who immigrated from the country of Italy. They are the Riepoli family. When the Riepoli family, Mama Rosa, Papa Luigi, Joby, Maria, and Annabella came to the United States, they were lucky enough to have cousin Dominic already living here in West Virginia to help them with their new American life. Soon, the Riepolis were living in their own home, and cousin Dominic missed them. He began to miss his girlfriend, Sarah, even more, who was still living in Italy. He wanted Sarah to be here with his family. He wrote her a letter every day. In his last letter, he asked Sarah to marry him. He asked her to come to the United States and be his bride. Sarah was so excited she wrote back yes. Sarah had lived in Italy her whole life with her parents. She and cousin Dominic had been good friends since they were bunnies, baby bunnies. When cousin Dominic decided to leave Italy to start a new life in America, working in the coal mines, Sarah was so sad. Sarah and her parents, Mama Ada and Papa Joe, soon arrived in America, and immediately wedding plans began. Mama Rosa and Nonna, which is Grandma, made a list of all of the cookies they were going to bake for the wedding celebration. We must have many cookies, they said. Papa Luigi and Nonna, Grandpa, had many grapes to be stomped to make the juice to be served at the wedding. Maria began to practice all of her music she would sing at the wedding, and Annabella had daily practices to teach all of the bunnies the Tarantella dance, which is the Southern dance we spoke about before, often performed at weddings and family celebrations. The boat from Italy would be arriving in the spring, and Dominic wanted everything to be perfect for his bride and her parents. All of the Riepoli family members stood alongside the boat docks, waiting for cousin Dominic's new family to arrive. Mama Rosa said, "Oh, the last time I saw Sarah, she was just a bambino, just beginning to hop around." The boat finally arrived. It took such a long time for Sarah and her parents to get to the boat docks. Joby and his sisters were getting quite impatient. Just as Mama Rosa was handing out carrot snacks, Joby caught a glimpse of the most stunning bunny he had ever seen. When he looked at the ear-to-ear bunny grin on cousin Dominic's face, he knew it must be Sarah. "She's here," they all cried out. Dominic hugged Sarah and shook hands with Papa Joe. Mama Ada and Mama Rosa, they were already exchanging cookie recipes. It was the night before the wedding, and the traditional wedding serenade had begun. All of the bunnies in the town walked behind cousin Dominic, many playing instruments like the accordions, mandolins, and violins. As they got closer to Sarah, cousin Dominic began singing a very special song he had written for Sarah. The moon was quite bright, and many stars were shining in the skies above. Neighbors and friends came from everywhere to enjoy the serenade, the music, and all of the Italian dishes made by Mama Rosa. The music suddenly stopped, and cousin Dominic spoke to Papa Joe. "Papa Joe, I love Sarah so very much, and I am asking for your blessing to marry her." Papa Joe smiled and said, "You are a good man, Dominic. You have a wonderful family here. You're a hard worker, and I know you will make my Sarah happy. Yes, you have a blessing to marry her from Mama Ada and me. You may marry her tomorrow." The music began again, and all of the bunnies danced in the street. Soon, Mama Rosa and Papa Luigi took the bunny children home to rest for tomorrow's wedding. The wedding day came. All of the bunnies were in their best bunny clothes, frilly dresses for Maria and Annabella and Mama Rosa, suits for Papa Luigi and Joby. Joby did not like wearing a bow tie, but he loved cousin Dominic, and he wanted to look his best for his special day. "Let's go," said Papa Luigi, and off they hopped to St. Francis Chapel at the end of the forest. When they arrived, Father Charlie was out the door to greet them, but Cousin Dominic was nowhere to be found. You see, as Cousin Dominic was on his way to the chapel through the forest, he heard a strange sound. It sounded like a baby bunny crying. He followed the sound to a tiny basket with a baby bunny girl inside. Attached to the basket was a note which read, "Please take good care of baby bunny Mary." What was Cousin Dominic to do? He picked up the basket and hopped to the chapel, hiding it under a pew without anyone noticing. The wedding music began, and Cousin Dominic took his place in the front of the chapel, waiting for his bride, Sarah. The chapel was full of friends and family. The doors to the chapel opened, and there stood Sarah in a white lace dress and a little white veil. She was carrying a bouquet of yellow roses. When Cousin Dominic looked at her, his heart skipped a few beats. She smiled and walked towards him. Happy smiles were coming from Mama Rosa and Mama Ada. Annabella and Maria walked in front of her, throwing yellow rose petals, and Joby carrying a tiny pillow with 2 gold rings attached to it. The chapel became silent. All of the guest bunnies were anxiously awaiting Dominic and Sarah to promise their love to one another, when all of a sudden, baby bunny Mary began to cry again. Sorry. Cousin Dominic said to Sarah, "I promise to make a good life for you and me and baby bunny Mary." Sarah looked confused as Cousin Dominic pulled out the basket and showed the baby bunny to Sarah. He said, "I found her in the forest with this note." Sarah read the note, smiled, and said to Cousin Dominic, "I too promise to love you and baby bunny Mary as long as we both shall live." They exchanged the gold rings. Everyone clapped and started throwing confetti at the happy couple, and the celebration began. Cousin Dominic and Sarah, along with baby bunny Mary, lived happily ever after. Again, in the back of the Hopping to America Rabbit's Tale of a Wedding book, there are some Italian weddings, customs, and traditions. Here's a few. Before the groom asks the bride to marry him, he must first ask her father for permission or blessing. The night before the wedding, the groom and musicians sing to the bride under the window or balcony. Guests should not wear the color of white to the ceremony, and the groom must pay for the bouquet of flowers. La Tarantella is the dance we talked about that's performed. And there's always a cookie buffet with traditional Italian wedding cookies and pizzelles. Those are kind of my favorite. And one of the many Italian phrases heard at a wedding is auguri or best wishes. So the little bunnies have arrived. They've had their holidays. They've had a wedding in America. I hope you've enjoyed these 3 stories. And also, if you would like to do a little extra after you read the books, we have a Hopping to America color and activity book. It has puzzles and games and coloring, and there's even a little song in the back of it about the bunnies. So that's the activity book that goes along with the series.
Awesome, Diana. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and your heritage and everything with us today. We really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. You know, I always love seeing you and working with you, and it's nice that we can connect via Zoom now that, you know, we can't see each other in person.
I know. It's what we've got to do at the time, right?
It is.
Those are such beautiful books. I thought we might, since we have the publisher, the illustrator, and the author here, let's talk little bit about the process. People might not be aware that for a children's book or any book, the manuscript first comes to the publisher, and we have readers who read it, and we get their opinions. And if we think it's a marketable and saleable product, then we'll contact the author and meet the author. And in Diana's case, she also had to have illustrations. And Ashley had illustrated her first 2 books of the Hopping to America series. Ashley, you want to speak to the relationship between the author and the illustrator?
So it's dependent on what type of publishing you decide to go through. With the independent side, a lot of times independent publishing houses want illustrations to come with the book already. So that's the case for this particular project. So Diana contacted me, and I kind of have the same process. I read the manuscript and, try to figure out if my work will fit it with the independent publishing world. So I looked at hers and obviously loved it. And so we met, and the rest is history.
And we have kind of an unconventional relationship, I think, because I feel like I write the story and I see the pictures in my mind, and she puts them on paper. I don't even have to tell her what I'm seeing, and it comes out on paper. It's great.
Well, I'm glad you think so. It takes a good story to prompt some good illustrations, though. It's certainly a team effort.
Thank you.
It is, and that's a blessing when you get an illustrator that can see the illustrations in the author's head.
We have been blessed.
We have. I know that the book is about immigration. Diana, do you have, with all the problems, or I shouldn't say problems with immigration being so prominent in the news over the last few years, when you do your school visits, do you talk about immigrating to the United States?
Definitely. A lot of students, well, all of the students, when I go and I read my story, especially the immigration one, they go home and they ask their mom and dad, where did my family come from? Where did my grandparents come from? And I encourage them, if they still have grandparents, to talk to them and listen to their stories, and to even write their stories down. I said, because when you get older, there's not going to be anybody to ask about these stories. So you need to remember them so you can pass those stories along too.
That's so important. And one of the wonderful things about Diana's books is she shares recipes. And when she encourages children to look at their ancestry, talk to your grandparents, talk to your parents, and learn where you have come from. Diana, do you do virtual visits now with COVID-19? How are you handling that?
I haven't done a lot of virtuals with the schools yet, because here in Marion County, we're very limited on the days that they are in school. But hopefully that will change soon, and I'll get to visit with a lot more students soon.
I know you usually do the Italian Heritage Festival. Was that virtual this year too?
Yes, it actually was virtual this year, and I am the chairperson of the West Virginia Italian Heritage Authors Forum, and we had an online authors forum this year with Italian American authors, and I presented there as well. So we still got the word out and still got to share our stories.
That's wonderful. How can people contact you to do a visit?
I have a website, dianapishnerwalker.com, and there's a place there to message me, and I answer very quickly.
Fantastic. And
there's also an order form on that website that the teachers can print out ahead of time and give out to their students in case they'd like to buy a book and have a signed copy. Then teachers usually have those ready for me when I get there with the orders of which book, and there's a place to put the student's name so I can sign it, personalize it to that student.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Ashley, I want to thank you for doing such a great job today. Everything we do is a team effort. We also want to thank the Indie Book Awards. They are helping to sponsor our Christmas extravaganza. And I want to thank you, Diana, for joining us, and I hope you'll come back.
Again and again.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Facebook, and we hope to see you again soon.
See you soon. Ciao.
Bye.